This video is sponsored by the Association of Anaesthetists, A-Line, Health Education Northeast, and NEMO.
Good morning. My name is Ibrahim Khalek. I am one of the anaesthetic trainees at Mersey School. I'm so honored to be invited by A-Line to take part in this study day, which is very close to my heart. I was once a IMG, or well, I will always be an IMG, but I mean a new doctor in England. It was actually 3 years ago when I made the move from sunny Cairo to northeast of England. It was actually in December, 3 years ago, 2017. Some people road may be well trodden, others may have a bumpy road. Sometimes you will have to take U-turns, trodden U-turns, reroute, and sometimes it's like a maze. So I did my initial training back in Egypt. I qualified in Egypt, in Cairo, and I was a intensive care doctor, intensive care specialist there. And I thought about coming to the UK and continuing my training in intensive care to get to my CCT and become a consultant. So about this time, about 2016, 2017, when I finished my master's in intensive care, there was a lot of talk over how the UK needs more doctors. More doctors are welcomed and invited to come to the UK, and with the promise of good training, good working environment. So I applied for the jobs, and soon I got the interview, but it wasn't like this. It was like this, all online, Skype, even over the phone. So, you know, we were practicing for the COVID pandemic 3 years, not even, 2020, when everything now is online. We were already doing this 3 years ago, 2017. So I was offered the job in the Northeast and started my emails with the HR, and it was less than ideal, let's say that. I sent all my certificates, all my forms that were required, and waited to hear from them back. But for 2 months or so, I didn't hear anything, and I was very, very anxious, very stressed. Okay, now what? Did I get the job? Should I resign my job in Egypt? Should I start to prepare myself? I was not getting anything back. And then finally, I talked to my consultant over the phone in Newcastle, and they popped to the HR and found out the person responsible for my file was not working there anymore. And yeah, my file was just, no one was looking after it. So yeah, it was a very stressful time, and yeah, not very good memory. Anyway, I made the move to the UK. It was in December. Before that, I did watch lots of YouTube videos by this website, Find Your Place in the Northeast and North Cumbria, which was really good. Introduced me to the area, to the region, to the culture. So I think this was a very good practice and very good induction to the culture. Then when I arrived to Newcastle, I had another issue. I had another thing to look after, to attend to. In order to start my job, I needed a bank account. And to have a bank account, I needed to have a place to have a rental agreement. And to have a rental agreement, I had to have like credit card history or references or things like that. So I rented Airbnb from Cairo because this is the only option I had. Didn't have lots of options. Didn't know anyone in the country. No friends, no family at all. And then 1 week was not enough. Surprisingly, was not enough. And I actually was going to rent another room in another house for another week. But then the landlady, she said she changed her mind, and yeah, she just didn't want me to make the move. And I had my suitcases outside the house I was living in and didn't know what. So it was a very difficult situation. Luckily, I found a room, so I did spend the night in the street. Yeah, so this was not a very good experience. I actually asked about hospital accommodation, if the hospital can offer me any kind of hospital accommodation, but they told me the doctors and nurses in the UK don't live in hospitals, which was very strange, because after that I found that yeah, there is hospital accommodation in lots of cities and towns in the UK. Anyway, so actually I recently was told that one of the trainees who just joined the hospital in the Northeast, he one of the consultants helped him to secure a flat, to rent a flat, and they helped him with the groceries, and it was very warm welcome, which was I think, yes, of course the circumstances are different. It's COVID and there is self-isolation, but I think it also makes a difference. It helps to relieve the anxiety or take lots of the anxiety that happens when you move countries, move across the world. Another thing I didn't know about at this time was relocation expenses. I didn't, it didn't even occur to me to ask about it. I discovered it after working in the UK, that as a doctor moving between areas, let alone moving between countries, you can claim relocation expenses and get help with renting or furnishing your flat. This is not something I didn't know about. Salary, again, they didn't acknowledge my overseas experience, which was a bit of disappointing point to me. Some people said afterwards the salary was adjusted to their overseas experience. Other people were treated that 1 year of overseas experience was counted as 6 months of UK experience, things like that. Again, if you work in the UK as a doctor, you have the BMA to help you with that, to guide you, to support you. But as someone coming from abroad, there is no one to support at all. So finally starting to work, and work was very good. I had a lot of support, a lot of patience from my colleagues, consultants, nursing staff, junior doctors. Everyone was very helpful and very appreciating of the difference or the different culture and different working environment that I came from. There was also a 2-day course which was directed to IMGs, so that was very helpful as well. I felt it helped me a lot to understand the culture in the NHS and the culture in the country I'm moving to. One of the practices that is good and we need more of it is a guide for IMG by the Royal College of Psychiatrists. I think this is very important because as Trust Grade Doctor, which my job title as then, you don't have a regulatory body to look after you or look after your interests. So the trainees have the deaneries, consultants have their trusts, and SAS have their own SAS bodies, but trust doctors don't have any. So again, I think there is a room for improvement definitely there. So work was working, and I started to get the hang of it and starting to adapt to my new environment. But again, I came from Cairo, which very busy, as you can imagine, where you are always surrounded by family, friends, very crowded, as you can see. And in Newcastle, it was I felt a bit isolated and lonely. So I started to go on walks. I went walking around Latine and in Northumbria. I learned how to ride a bike, how to cycle. I joined NAP, which is a trainee organized event, yearly event. It was, I think, in Durham when I went. It was very, very nice and a good chance for bonding. Again, this is a practice I think we need more of it everywhere in the UK. I went on day trips to York, to Scotland. I went to the Lake District as well. Also, another thing that may help newcomers to the UK is regional or ethnic communities like BIMA, which is British Islamic Medical Association, Newcastle Central Mosque. All those things I think can help to relieve the feeling of isolation and loneliness. After I settled down now, I needed to think of my next step. So I applied for training in anesthetics, and oh dear, it was time to move again. I had to move across the country I had just moved to. So I started my training in Merseyside about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago now. So yeah, in a nutshell, my experience there were good things and not so good things. Like good things like the interview online, the Geordie hospitality, I was very well looked after and people were friendly. The induction course was very good as well. And things that were not so good like accommodation, salary concerns, and support from outside. Thank you so much for listening and goodbye.